My client, Julie, lives in a nursing home. I am her local care manager and advocate. Julie's best friend lives in Connecticut and shows great interest and concern for Julie's well-being. In addition to emails that I send with photographs, the nursing home has agreed to initiate a phone call once each week on Wednesdays at 9:30 a.m. from Julie to her friend. The phone call is intended to give her friend peace of mind that Julie is well cared for and happy. In her surroundings, how does this sound to you? Is this a reasonable request of care community staff? 1 phone call a week, 10 minutes of staff time. To me, the phone call is a simple request to support quality of life for Julie and her friend. The request was first made about 12 weeks ago, and by my count, calls were completed 50% of the time. Wednesday of this week, her friend called to let me know that the call didn't happen. Again, I was shocked but not surprised. I sent email reminders and even talked to the floor nurse the day before to remind about the phone call. I called to find out why the phone call failed. I was told that Julie said she wasn't in the mood to talk. How many of you know my next question? I asked why no one called her friend to let her know that Julie didn't want to participate in the phone call. Completing that one simple next step would have avoided frustration on the part of her friend about another missed phone call. It would have avoided contact from me asking why the phone call was missed. For individuals with family and friends at a distance, a simple phone call or action to promote contact is very important to the resident and to the family. If you were the staff at this community, what would you do to make sure the phone call happened every week on schedule? Another client of mine, Allison, lives in an assisted living community, and she's very active. She is very rarely in her apartment. Her family lives in Italy and Germany. Their time zone is 7 hours later. I received multiple calls from her family concerned that every time they called, she was never available. I mentioned this to the receptionist, who said she would try to find Allison when family called. This went on for a couple of months with great frustration expressed by the family. The receptionist finally admitted that if she isn't familiar with the caller's voice, she doesn't put calls through to residents. To me, this receptionist's action is a clear violation of Allison's rights to have contact with her family, who, by the way, have such distinct European accents that it would be difficult for anyone not to recognize their voices when they call. These are 2 examples of a lack of community staff support for families at a distance. How would you feel if you were a family member at a distance trying to contact your loved one in a care community? Would you be less than patient with staff for making contact with you difficult, if not impossible? How might community staff support contact from family members at a distance? Is this small act really too much to ask of staff? If you have residents in similar situations in your communities, how might you support this contact? I'm Pamela Wilson of the Caring Generation, an online community of support for professional and family caregivers.